And welcome to the beautiful island of Puerto Rico. This weekend, the temperatures up in the 80s, gorgeous sunshine, beaches, resorts, and a long tradition of world-class boxing. Tonight, a world champion back to his ancestral home to celebrate his success and defend his hard-earned title. It'll be sold out tonight to see Danny Garcia in the ring tonight here on Showtime Championship Boxing. Hi everybody, I'm Brian Kenny and welcome to Bayamon, Puerto Rico. 3 big fights tonight. WBA and WBC super lightweight champion of the world, not just a fighter with 2 belts, but the consensus world champion at junior welterweight, 140 pounds, Danny Garcia taking on Mauricio Herrera. Deontay Wilder puts his unbeaten heavyweight record on the line against Malik. And an added bonus, toe-to-toe, last week's fight between Canelo Alvarez and Alfredo Angulo. Now in that fight, 2 main things to watch. 1, Canelo in his first fight since his loss to Floyd Mayweather, coming back with a dazzling offensive attack. Again, first time since his first pro loss. And 2, the amount of punishment taken by Angulo. Now you get to judge for yourself if Tony Weeks made the right call in the 10th round. So we'll get back here to Puerto Rico in a moment. But first, we take you back to last Saturday night at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Canelo Alvarez and Alfredo Angulo. With the call, Mauro Ranallo, Al Bernstein, and Paulie Malignaggi. All right, let's bring in the team right now. Al Bernstein, Mauro Ranallo, and Paulie Malignaggi. Al, with a little bit of distance now, and having just rewatched it again, we're all here in Puerto Rico watching this fight again. What do you think?
Interesting. I changed my mind about 10 minutes ago. First of all, Tony Weeks is an excellent official. Second of all, some of how you feel about this depends on your philosophy about this. Do you want referees to be able to arbitrarily stop a fight in the middle of a round because the guy's in trouble, or do you feel they're there to stop it only when he's in danger against the ropes? So how you feel philosophically about that will determine to some degree how you feel. But I changed my mind watching this about the stoppage. 7 and 8 competitive rounds, and I think that stopping it in the middle of that round, to be perfectly candid, was a bit premature.
Okay. Paulie, you're the active pro here. You're still in the ring. Do you want a referee to have that latitude to stop a fight the way Tony Weeks did?
Oh, you know, at the end of the day, the referee is in there to protect the fighters. I mean, this wouldn't be a sport without the referee being there. It would just be something barbaric. So the referee, to a degree, has a responsibility to protect the fighters. I'm going to go back and say it again. Angulo was not responding to the offense coming his way. He wasn't going with any of the shots. There's a big difference, and again, there's a fine line, because earlier tonight, I thought Ponce de Leon's fight was stopped earlier simply because he's kind of riding with the shots as they're coming. Angulo was not responding to any offense coming his way, so I can't fault Tony Weeks to that degree. I mean, from a fighter's perspective, I would probably flip out too, honestly. Like, nobody wants to be stopped, especially in a moment where you don't feel like you're hurt. But residual damage, long-term effects, we've seen fighters in more competitive fights get hurt worse. So at that point, it wasn't competitive anymore to the degree where he could have continued.
Yeah, we know referees, too, that have reputations as this guy will let him fight, this guy will jump in right away. And, Mauro, Tony Weeks doesn't have a reputation either way. What does that tell us?
Well, I just think he's a solid official, having had nearly 2 decades of experience, having officiated 57 men's world championship fights. And he told retired referee Joe Cortez earlier this week that after the 9th round, he went to Angulo's corner. The doctor was evaluating Angulo, turned to Weeks and said, he is taking way too much punishment. One more hard punch, you need to stop the fight. He was a victim of a vicious left uppercut in the 10th round. I agree with Weeks' stoppage.
Let's get exactly what Tony Weeks had to say, because he told Lem Satterfield from RingTV.com he had no second thoughts about stopping the fight, going on to say people have to understand that when you have a one-sided fight, that there's a guy that's taking some tremendous shots over the course of the fight. He doesn't necessarily have to be knocked down or staggered against the ropes, because with one of those punches, there are some damages and some potential damages to happen that we are unable to see and we don't know about. Al, I'll bring up, you know, you go back to watching fights actually from the 40s through the 70s, and I've done a lot of this through the years. Right. Guys will be getting battered, ref is just watching. Guys will be bleeding, ref is just watching. The ref didn't jump in. We have evolved as a fistic culture. So going forward, is this the way we'd like to see fights officiated?
I think you make a very good point. Boxing has evolved, as it should. even from the 70s, not just the 50s. But I think the difficulty is it's a slippery slope when referees, even with the doctor's approval, in mid-round do it, because sometimes it might not be as appropriate as we'd like. And so it raises a very difficult question.
Well, also, it's almost like, and Paul, you fought in England, where they won't say a fighter quit, they say he retired. Yeah. It's a different mindset, isn't it?
It's tough, but I'm going to go back to the people that say Tony Weeks, he stopped it in the middle of the round, and maybe you stop it between rounds. But I don't want a guy like Tony Weeks to second guess himself. Like, if he would have stopped it between rounds, then Canelo Angulo wouldn't have had the chance to walk out in the next round. Maybe the stoppage could have been picked a little better in the moment, maybe after a combination. But regardless, I think he gave him a chance when he let him come out for the last round. Because he could have stopped it between rounds, and he didn't.
Yep. Hey, oh, by the way, Canelo looked terrific, and the pay-per-view buy rate, which is out now, was, shall we call it, robust. It was better than even expected. So how differently do we view him now?
Well, they say you learn a lot from a loss, and it was evident that he indeed took a lot from his first loss to Floyd Mayweather. Yes, Angulo's not the quickest or slickest, but there were improvements in Canelo's defense, and his offense was very creative. He looked very impressive, just 23 years of age. I do believe he's the future of the sport.
Yeah, I have a feeling, too. Now, when I think of him, maybe Lara, maybe Miguel Cotto, Al, I have a different feeling, much more confidence in Canelo against those guys now.
Yeah, and I hope people don't diminish what Canelo did based upon the fact that they want to denigrate Alfredo Angulo. They have to remember, this is the same Alfredo Angulo who the previous fight took Erislandy Lara to hell and back in a Fight of the Year candidate. So you can't have it both ways. The fact that Canelo was so impressive against him and fought his kind of fight and still beat him says a lot.
And Paulie, what do you see about the learning curve? I thought he got much better from the time we saw him against Austin Trout to this fight.
Even mentally, a fighter sometimes gets worse after he loses confidence. Sometimes he realizes that's a feeling I never want to feel again. It makes him hungrier. I saw a hungrier Canelo Angulo. I saw a guy who wanted to go for it, not just entertain, but also with that killer instinct, dare I say.
Well, look, we can discuss this an awful lot. We did last week, we did tonight. We did again tonight on the Showtime Extreme card. But lives are at stake. These are important decisions that we should be discussing with the referees and with ringside physicians and corners and all of that in stopping the fight. Right now, we are coming to you tonight from Bayamon, Puerto Rico. You're watching Showtime Championship Boxing. Still to come, our main event, the unified consensus champion of the world at 140 pounds, Danny Garcia, defending the WBA, WBC, and Ring Magazine championship belts. He'll be taking on Mauricio Herrera, who boasts a win over Ruslan Provodnikov. In our co-feature, the momentum is building, and we start to wonder if Deontay Wilder can eventually take over the heavyweight division. He's 30-0, all 30 by knockout. He's been matched very carefully. We're aware of this, but look at the size, look at the power. Wilder may have that potential. We wonder. Tonight, he takes on veteran Malik Scott. So let's get to it. Let's go back to Morrow, Al, and Paulie.
33-year-old Malik Scott is a 13-year pro who feels he's the best pure boxer in the heavyweight division. A case can be made that, like his opponent tonight, he should be undefeated, having suffered a disputed draw against Vyacheslav Glasgow, followed by a controversial countout loss to Derek Chisora. He bounced back with a second-round TKO triumph in a tune-up fight in January. Across the ring, 28-year-old Deontay Wilder, the last American male boxer to medal at the Olympics, garnering a bronze in 2008, has been heralded by some as the next American heavyweight champion, as he is showcasing the mask tonight. We saw his opponent, Scott, wearing a paper bag over his head at the weigh-in, looking like the unknown comic of the Gong Show. Look it up on YouTube, kids, and maybe he'll get the last laugh tonight, but Wilder has a wrecking ball right hand, has yet to face an opponent capable of severely testing him. Scott says Wilder's will be tested tonight.
And as we look at the tail of the tape, two numbers jump out at you. The height of Deontay Wilder, Malik Scott, who's 6'4", usually he doesn't have to look up at the man he's fighting, and the weight of Wilder. You know, in his last 5 fights, he's been right around the 224 to 227 area, so he's very consistent in his weight, and he says both of them are in shape heavyweights.
And the rules for tonight's fight: there is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental foul or headbutt causes a fight to end within 4 rounds, it's a no decision. After 4 rounds, they go to the scorecards for a technical decision. And for both fights tonight, they will inform the respective corners of the scores after rounds 4 and 8. Here with the official introductions is Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Y a todos mis amigos boricuas, bienvenidos aficionados al box, al Coliseo Rubén Rodríguez en Bayamón, Puerto Rico. Tenemos una gran noche del boxeo. Well, fans, we welcome you to beautiful Puerto Rico for our big night of action, brought to you by Golden Boy Promotions, Swift Promotions, PR Best Boxing, and Showtime. Sponsored by Corona, La Cerveza Más Fina, AT&T, Rethink Possible, Casamigos Tequila, brought to you by those who drink it. En la ciudad de Bayamón, Señor Alcalde Ramón Luis Rivera. Ahora presentando una eliminatoria peso completo a 12 rounds. This attraction, ladies and gentlemen, is also brought to you courtesy of Goose and Tudor Promotions and is sanctioned by the WBC President Mauricio Suleiman. The supervisor is Bismarck Morales. Introducing our judges, presentando a los jueces. From Bayamón, Puerto Rico, Cesar Ramos. From Dallas, Texas, Oren Schellenberger, and from San Juan, Puerto Rico, Nelson Vasquez. Our third man to the ring, the referee in charge, Roberto Ramirez Jr. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Heavyweight World Title Eliminator. Introducing you first on my left, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing red trunks with blue trim, he weighed in at 238 pounds. Presentando en la esquina roja, pesando 238 libras, he is fighting out of Van Nuys, California, by way of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. One loss, one draw with 13 wins coming by way of knockout. Su récord profesional, 36 victorias, una derrota y un empate con 13 ganadas por la vía del knockout. Please welcome the longtime heavyweight contender. Demos la bienvenida a Malik King Scott. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white trunks with green trim. He weighed in at a ready 227 pounds. Y su oponente en la esquina azul con un peso de 227 libras. The Olympic bronze medalist from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, is ranked a top 5 contender by the WBC, WBA, and WBO. His record is a perfect 30 wins, no losses, all 30 wins coming by way of knockout. Clasificado número 3, CMB, peso completo, tiene un sobresaliente récord de 30 victorias sin derrota, con 30 ganadas por la vía del knockout. Here is the undefeated WBC number 3 heavyweight in the world, introducing the Bronx Bomber, Deontay Wilder. Once again, a referee in charge, now to give instructions, Roberto Ramirez Jr.
Everybody out of the ring. Everybody out of the ring. Mouthpiece on. Okay. Mouthpiece. Come on. I read the rules already. Remember, I want a professional all the time. When I say break one step back, we don't landing punches, okay? The punches are good over the narrow, okay? God bless you both.
A quick reminder, you can follow us on Twitter at Show Sports for exclusive content from tonight's event. Join the conversation at #Garcia Herrera. Some suggested topics and already lots of feedback on the reaction to the Canelo Angulo stoppage. How long will Deontay Wilder's KO streak last? Where does Danny Garcia rank on the pound-for-pound list? For more on everything from Showtime Sports, log on to show.com/sports. Yeah, this is that. Referee Roberto Ramirez Jr. And we are underway, 12 rounds or less in this WBC heavyweight title eliminator. The winner of this fight to meet the winner of the rematch between Berman Stibbard and Chris Arreola coming up on May 10th. Deontay Wilder in the white with green, Malik Scott in the red with blue. Wilder's never been past the 4th round.
And because of that, for Malik Scott, we're in March Madness. This is a reference from the old days when they didn't have a shot clock. He's in the 4-corner offense for the first 4, 5, 6 rounds of this fight. Wants to peck away, get Wilder into those middle rounds.
You know, he hasn't thrown a punch yet, and he mentioned yesterday at the fighter meeting, the Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearns fight, their first fight, where Leonard didn't throw very many punches for the first 3 rounds, and he told us that was a good approach. He felt like he was going to feel out Scott in a similar, feel out Wilder in a similar way, and thus far, Scott's kind of doing that. He hasn't thrown a punch yet. He's kind of giving him different looks.
It should be noted that these two are very close outside the ring. They clicked when they were both sparring partners for Thomas Adamick in advance of the veteran contenders. Ill-fated shot at Vitaly Klitschko's title in September of 2011. Here's even a more crazier fact. Scott and Wilder's mom share the same birthday. Wilder and Scott's mom share the same B-day. But Wilder called Scott about a month ago and says, hey, business is business. I don't want to talk to you again until after the fight. And there, a straight right hand drops Malik Scott.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And already this fight is over. A sniper-like right hand for Deontay Wilder. His 18th win in round 1.
Wow.
Scott going down for the 2nd time in his career. He was knocked down against Derek Chisora with a right hand and controversially counted out. No controversy here, Al. And he's calling out Stiverne Ariola.
Well, he's going to get that fight. And the fascinating thing is we'll see in the replay when we see it, but I thought he partially blocked that punch. That shows you the power. And, you know, Wilder told us in all the sparring, he said, I knocked Scott down once. He said, I hurt him, and that was with 18-ounce gloves. Wait till he feels my power with 10-ounce gloves. Well, he was prophetic.
Deontay's not even sweating, guys.
It's been 6.5 years since an American, that was Shannon Briggs, held a portion of the heavyweight crown. Deontay Wilder proves to 31-0, all 31 wins inside the distance. His next fight will be for the heavyweight championship.
That's scary power, guys, I'm telling you.
We'll look at the first round in regular speed, just to give you an idea of the pacing of it and where it was at. In that first round, Scott was trying to kind of, as I said, buy time and make sure that he could feel him out, get to the later rounds. But in doing that, even though Paulie made the interesting reference, that's true, to the Leonard Hearns, he just wasn't ready for the power of Wilder, and we're going to see it coming up here in a moment or two.
Is anybody ready for the power of Wilder?
Yeah, that's the big question. And you know, the interesting thing is as we get to it is that the punch that Wilder would land, and as I mentioned, for the first time Scott facing it with 10-ounce gloves, the punch that he would land actually ends up being partially blocked, and yet the power of it was so amazing. Now Wilder's using the jab to set this up, looking to land the right.
He's gonna hit him with a left hook right hand, which once you use a jab, the left hook right hand combination, you usually use the left hook as a throwaway punch. You're basically getting the guy used to seeing a jab. Then you're gonna come with a left hook right hand. It's a sharp, short. Actually, it's a long left hook. You want the guy to react to it so you can pump the right hand right down the middle. So all these jabs, you're kind of building to that. You're getting Scott looking at your left hand coming up the middle, coming up the middle, coming up the middle. And eventually he's going to come around the side. He's going to look to the side, and the right hand's going to sneak up on him down the middle.
Extraordinary, really.
Shotgun right hand.
And now we'll look at it in slow motion. You'll get a chance to see some of the things Paulie was talking about. The jabs.
And again, see, come around the side. The right hand looked like it didn't land clean, but man, this goes to show you the power of this guy. He's got all knockout wins. But again, the left hand comes around the side. Scott, whatever part of the right hand did hit him, he didn't see it because he was looking all left hand the whole time.
A lead left hook followed by the lethal right hand, a crushing combination.
And yet another look, the feeling out hook. Now, seriously, part of that punch landed, but it bounced off the glove, and some of the fans are actually booing when they look at the replay. But the power of Wilder, Malik Scott didn't come here to fall down. So
he's
clearly
only been down once in his career prior.
And I think the temple shot to the left head may have had an impact and may have been an equilibrium shot. But that right hand did not land perfectly, but I guess it was enough to send him down and out.
So he's done it again. 18 wins inside the first. He's 31-0 with 31 wins via Fort McHale. Let's make it official with Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 1 minute 36 seconds in round number 1. Tenemos el tiempo 1 minuto 36 segundos en el primer round. El ganador por knockout. He is the winner by way of knockout and still undefeated, the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder.
All right, let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, Mo, thank you very much. Deontay, congratulations. Barely worked up a sweat there. How would you describe this knockout? You now have 31 of them. Are you surprised that this ended the fight like that?
Oye, mi gente, estoy aquí. Bomb Squad!
And now to the question.
First off, I'd like to thank God for this opportunity, you know, just for waking me up, blessing me with this day right here. Without him, we'll be nothing. I always say, if you get God the glory, he will give you the victory. First of all, I'd like to thank Shelly Fingers.
Well, let's go to the question here. Hold on a second. Let's talk about the fight. We'll get to thank everybody in a moment.
Okay.
Are you surprised that that put him out in such rapid fashion?
Well, Jim, I got power. I mean, I got natural power. It's something that you can't buy. This is something that you can't enhance and put in your body. It's all natural, pure Alabama power, baby. Alabama power. That's all I can say, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Let's take a look at the monitor. Do you think that the left had more impact than the right did, and that the left really was the shot?
Well, the left hand definitely is right to the temple of the head, man, and that's a soft spot. The left hook is a temple, and my power is crazy. I go through the gloves. People don't understand. Even though he had his gloves up, when you got 84 inches of all strong power coming towards you, there ain't nothing stopping it. It's like a missile. It's nothing stopping that. Even though it hit his glove and come through, it still hurts.
You'll be fighting for a championship next. The winner of the fight coming up between Stevern and Areola. I'm just wondering if you think that you need to be a little more tested before you get into this position, have some longer fights. Many of your fights have been carefully choreographed and picked.
Right. Well, all the testing is done in the gym. You know, Jim, I bust my butt off in the gym to come here to perform for all the people, to make it look easy. And each and every time, I don't care if I don't go past 4 rounds, I don't care if I don't solve all the questions that people have about me. I'm not trying to prove nothing. I'm on one mission, and that's to be the heavyweight champion of the world and to unify all the belts in the division and bring it back to America, baby. That's my mission, and we own it. And, you know, that's what it is. I can get all praises to God, man.
Now quickly thank the folks. I promised you could. Go ahead. Who do you want to
I'd like to thank Shelly Fingers. I'd like to thank Al Heyman. I'd like to thank my bomb squad back here. You know, I'd like to thank, thank Tuscaloosa, Colville, all those guys. I'd like to thank David Brown, man.
Got them all in. Thank you. Congratulations once again. 31 knockouts. All right.
Thank you, Jim.
Back to you, Mo.
Malik Scott unable to defuse the bomb tonight, Al.
And you know, it's interesting as we continue to examine this, and we're going to examine the knockout. I think it is the left hook that had more impact because it landed in the temple area. It wasn't the perfect left hook for Wilder, but perhaps it was enough to get Scott into big trouble, Paulie.
It landed behind the ear.
It did, yeah.
But it was a smack still.
We'll take a look at it again. And
you never know when the guy's got such heavy hands. I mean,
yeah.
Now that was lands on the ear.
It wasn't a perfect punch, and the right hand wasn't delivered perfectly either. So, you know, but again, Wilder's a big, strong man. So surprising to see Scott go down this way in the first round, though, it really is.
Well, earlier tonight, we asked you to weigh in on several topics on Twitter, and here is what is trending right now. So a lot of people talking about the stoppage and also mentioning of the Angulo and Canelo stoppage. And some people feel that it was a little early. Some people feel it was a good stoppage, and really very much like the debate we've had amongst ourselves.
And in truth, you know, I went a little bit on the other side, but there has not been a big hue and cry over this. So it's not as if there's been a massive, you know, outcry over it.
Well, talking about action, some scintillating stuff on Show Extreme earlier tonight.